Recording. Okay, we're on the air. Hey guys, I'm here with Alyssa. She is one of my friends from college. We actually met, I don't even know how many years ago, probably like 2 or 3 at least. 4? Was it 4?
Yeah.
Hell, anyways, that's a long time ago. Whoa. Okay, so Alyssa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Alyssa Wilwall. I am in my 4th year of school, and I decided to take this year to study abroad in Seoul, South Korea, and I'm having the time of my life. I am a philosophy major with a concentration in religion and culture. And what else? I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to have you. I don't think anybody's watching yet. I just did, like, before you, I did 3 other interviews, right? Like, back to back to back.
Oh, wow.
Since 6 a.m. So I don't know if many people are going to watch right now, but they'll watch later if they're not watching right now. Why did you pick South Korea as the country to go study abroad to?
Ooh, I love this question because automatically people assume that any Westerner who decides to go to South Korea, it's because of K-pop. That's the first question that most Koreans will ask you if you're here because of K-pop. But and then they're always really pleased when you say that you're not there for here for K-pop. I knew I wanted to study abroad since freshman year of college. I just didn't know where. So over the past few years when I was getting ready to go, I decided to do some research. And my family is relatively new to America, as new as on my mom's side, I'm a 2nd generation immigrant, or American. So my grandmother is from Europe. And then on my dad's side, my great-grandparents are from Europe. So I knew that I would be comfortable in a European setting, and I didn't want that. I wanted to push myself. I wanted to step outside of my comfort zone, and I'm really, really bad at Spanish. So I figured Latin America would probably not be the place for me to go. Plus, it's really hot and really humid, and I wanted to get away from that since I'm from Georgia. So I decided on Asia, and I did some research, and I figured that I would probably be the most comfortable in either Seoul or Tokyo. And then I just decided between those two which one I wanted to explore more, which one I thought I would have the most fun and interesting experience. And so I decided on Seoul.
I think that is so awesome. Unlike you, I am very interested in K-pop. Well,
trust me.
Okay, you are too. Okay, good. Well, okay, so that's okay. Then that makes sense. So it wasn't your main reason for going to Korea, but you are interested in it, but it's more of a cultural thing.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense.
I enjoy K-pop, and it's just like any other form of media that I consume. I don't think I would use it as my main reason to go to another country for a year to live my life.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, I would love to go to Korea. Are you going to be there the whole year?
I am. I'm going to try. I have a break in between classes in February. So I'm really going to try to come home for maybe 2 weeks, but it all depends on the flights. So my dad actually works for Delta, and I can fly home on standby, but it's never guaranteed. So if the flights look good, I'm going to try to come home. If not, I am going to be here pretty much until July.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, I don't know if you know this, but my younger sister, Anna, lives in Japan right now.
I did know that. I've seen it all over your social media.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably visit Anna in Japan, and I would love to go to South Korea when I'm there.
Oh, yes. I would love to show you around. There's so much cool things to go to.
So I guess kind of starting off with, I mean, kind of getting back, like before, because I want to talk about Korea, but in your experience there, but going back to before you left and just your early college experience, what made you choose to go to Kennesaw?
Oh, okay. So the first half of school for me was, I'd say, pretty unconventional, just because of things that happened. But the reason I chose to go to Kennesaw is I was originally a education major, early childhood, and Kennesaw has a really good education program. And I had the scores to get in, and I just kind of applied last minute because I procrastinate everything. I knew I was going to get in. I had applied to a few bigger schools that I knew I probably wasn't going to get into. And so I just used Kennesaw as kind of like my fallback plan.
Yeah.
I ended up really loving my experience there. I was only there for total timeline about 2.5 years, but my time actually studying there, it was only 3 semesters.
Wow. So what made you transfer, or like?
Yeah. So I ended up transferring to Georgia College in Milledgeville, and that was after towards the end of my fall semester, my first semester of college, I was playing rugby. I played for Kennesaw State women's rugby team, and I still remember exactly. It was October 11th, 2015. And we had a game against North Georgia, and somehow my 5'2", 158 centimeter self found myself in front of the biggest person on North Georgia's rugby team. And she had the ball. So I was like, well, it's this or nothing. And she took the tackle wrong and actually landed on my lower back. So I ended up getting 2 herniated discs in my lower back. And
I forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
In that process of finding out that I had herniated my disc, I also got diagnosed with degenerative disc disease at the age of 18. So that's most of the time people in their like 50s get diagnosed with that. If the best way to describe it, which is kind of like a really grotesque way, but it's the way that my doctor described it to me. If each disc in your back is a jelly donut, when you herniate it, it's when you squeeze the jelly out of the donut, and the jelly's supposed to stay in the donut. And a degenerative disc is like if the donut part was starting to wear down, so that the actual bread part was getting thinner over time, so it's easier to injure. So at 18, I got diagnosed with that. I managed to make it through the rest of the semester, and then I made it through spring semester as well. And I was getting better. I still wasn't able to play any sports or anything like that, which was really hard because I've been an athlete my entire life. And then me being the really smart person that I am, I had gone to Hawaii to visit some friends who were stationed at Hickam and Pearl Harbor in Honolulu. And one of their friends took me and a few of the kids of a family friend to the North Shore of Oahu, and we went cliff jumping. And me, just for having recovered from a back injury, went cliff jumping.
You were stupid!
Me, being the smart person that I am, wasn't satisfied with just one jump. Because I was like, oh, this is awesome. That was so much fun. And it's like a 40-foot cliff. And so I jumped once, and then I was like, I'm doing it again. So I climbed back up the rock, and like, there's not even like a staircase or anything to get to the right. You literally have to scale the side of a rock to get up there. And as soon as I jumped, a huge wave hit at the same time that I hit the water, and it re-injured my back. And the next day I had to sit on a flight for 11 hours back to Atlanta. So I had made it worse than it originally was, even though they had kind of gone back to their original place. Because it was my discs were degenerative, it just got worse. And I ended up taking a full year off of school and not going back until the summer of 2017. Yeah, 2017. And through that entire year, I changed drastically as a person. I went through a really rough bout of depression, which is common with chronic back pain. I got out of that and I started working so I could save up money for school. I went on a mission trip to Ireland. I went back.
Yeah. And then was it? Okay. Did it? I think it was you. Didn't you like message me when I don't know if I was abroad or I think you were actually in Ireland during this time and you said that your cousin liked me or something. Was that you?
Maybe. I think I was on like, I think I was on social media or whatever. And I was on like Instagram or something. And I scrolled past a picture of you and he was just like, who is that? And I thought it was the funniest thing. Because he was like 13 maybe.
Oh my gosh, that is so creepy. Actually.
He was like, she's so pretty. Tell her I told her she's pretty. And I was just like, fine, I'll tell her that you think she's pretty.
I didn't know he was 13. Oh my gosh, good thing I wasn't like, oh, let me talk to your cousin. That makes things a lot different. That's really cute actually now that I know. So going off of that, and I think I cut you. Just keep on going with what you were saying about your mission trip and stuff.
Yeah. So I had a mission trip to Ireland and I actually made quite a few friends there. And I ended up going back at the end of May to visit them because I had gotten an invitation to come and visit. So I was like, heck yes, I'm going to go back to Ireland. So that was the first time I've traveled internationally by myself. And it was such a liberating feeling. I, without any cell service, went to a foreign country, took a train and buses across the entire country to get to my friend's place and found my way around. And it was just really like empowering to know that like I could do that. I've done that. And I wasn't scared. Or if I was scared, I got over it. And that kind of like, I had already loved traveling, but then that kind of like piqued my interest in traveling abroad by myself. And that was really the push that I needed to be like, I'm going to study abroad and I'm going to do it. I don't care how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And I also decided that I was going to change my major. And that's how I ended up transferring because Kennesaw doesn't have a philosophy department. So I decided to go to Georgia College because I already knew people that went there. I liked the community. And they're one of the few public universities in Georgia that offers a philosophy program. So I ended up going there and I absolutely love it. I went there for a full year before I decided to study abroad. I got a job as a referee with the rec sports department. I also got a job at the front desk of the gym. I joined the ultimate frisbee team. After 2 years of physical therapy, I finally got cleared to play sports again, but non-contact sports. And then I was always on like at least 3, sometimes 5 intramural sport teams a semester. So it was really fun. I made 2 of the best friends that I've had in my entire life there. And I just knew that it was the right place for me to be, and I went at the right time.
Well, I'm glad you did that. Yeah, I know Kennesaw offers, I think they offer a minor in philosophy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not, I mean, I think also the philosophy like club was kind of a joke, unfortunately, because it just wasn't organized enough. I mean, I actually took a few philosophy classes. I mean, because I was an international affairs major, so I took different ones. But yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome that you went with what you loved. Also, people are trying to, I told you this before that people would try to do this. We do not know what Alyssa's type is. So if you guys want to try to type her throughout this interview, or if you guys have any ideas, she did take the test like 4 years ago, but she doesn't remember her result. So whatever you think throughout, just like let us know. But yeah.
Yeah. But if it helps them figure out what my type is at all, on every single Harry Potter sorting quiz I've ever taken, I'm a Hufflepuff.
Yeah. So she's a Hufflepuff. I actually resonate with Gryffindor. My like least one was Slytherin. Like I had Slytherin the last one, but like it was either I kind of was pretty close to being like a Ravenclaw. I was like Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, and then Hufflepuff was pretty close. So it was like the 3 of them were pretty close, but you were like Hufflepuff, yeah. The next one.
So I was like Hufflepuff, and then Ravenclaw and Gryffindor were almost the same, and then Slytherin was like 0. I'm pretty sure it was actually 0.
That's funny. Yeah, I feel like that could be, I mean, I think people can get something from that. So
I do remember that the first 3 letters, I think, were INF or something like that.
Oh, well, that's pretty, I mean, that narrows it down a lot, but I don't know.
There was like 2 letters and there was a dash between them. I don't remember what the last 2 were, though.
P or J?
Maybe.
Perceiver or judger. So you can either be an I or an E, so an extrovert or an introvert, like, I mean, at least the letters. You can be either an N or an S, so intuitive or sensing.
Okay, and then must be because I'm not an introvert.
You're not an introvert. So you think E, so you think you're an extrovert. Do you think you're intuitive, so N or S? Intuitive or sensing? I would say, I mean, you can go ahead and answer what you think for that.
Probably intuitive. I think you paused.
And then either be a T or an F, thinker or feeler. And then either P or J, perceiver or judger. But that's like very, those are at the very basic levels without getting into the cognitive functions.
Yeah, I know then it was E and F, and then I don't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, so you were either an ENFJ or an ENFp maybe. So
yeah,
interesting. Okay, well that narrows it down a lot. So I guess going back to what you were saying about getting back into sports, even though they were non-contact, how do you think like that changed your self-esteem and stuff? Like your switch to Georgia College and everything?
Goodness. So my self-esteem has never been good, except for when I was playing sports, because throughout middle and high school, I was bullied a lot, and I ended up even transferring schools my freshman year. So my self-esteem in that aspect was very bad, probably up until just a few years ago.
Wow.
But when I was playing sports is when I always felt at home because I was stronger than the average girl my size. I was good at certain aspects of sports. Um, I was a goalie for 7 years in soccer, and then I was a midfielder after that. And I was very aggressive. And that's why I was like, once I got to Kennesaw and there was a rugby team, I was like, yes, I'm doing this. And it was the first time that I had naturally been really, really good at a sport. I was never a natural athlete. It was something that I knew that I needed for myself. So I worked as hard as I could in order to get good at soccer. And I was not the best by any means, and I wasn't great. I was above average. And I worked really hard to get there. And I think that's what I was proud of. So then to finally find a sport that just clicked with me and I was really good at it and I loved it. And then to just never be able to play that again, it was really, really hard. So I didn't give up. And for 2 years, I went to athletic trainers, physical therapy, anything that I could. And I managed to get cleared to play a non-contact sport, which is ultimate frisbee. And let me tell you, if you've never experienced being on an ultimate frisbee team, it's probably one of the best experiences of my life so far, just because the entire sport is about camaraderie, teamwork, and really it's just spirit of the game. There's not even referees for official matches. It's a self officiated game. So you work with the other team to decide if a foul has been made or who gets the disc, if there's a turnover, anything like that. And that was really, really interesting to me at first. And then I grew to love that because after the game, even if it was a really intense, really competitive game, it doesn't matter if you lost by 10 points or if you won by 1 point. Both teams gathered together and just said what they had to say and then celebrated. And that was really important to me as someone who just likes to be around people. And that really helped build my self-confidence from the inside and not just from a physical aspect of I'm strong and I can do this, because I'm not strong anymore. I can't, like, I'm still, I guess I'm still am stronger than the average girl my size, but I'm not as strong as I was. I used to do weightlifting constantly. I used to tackle girls that were twice my size, and I can't do that anymore. And I can't lift weights anymore, but I can run farther than I've ever been able to run in my life. I actually know how to throw a frisbee properly, which I was awful at before. My first practice spent just like 10 minutes throwing a disc at the ground until finally they were like, you know what, let's try a different grip. And I finally got it to go. So yeah, I was just throwing a disc at the ground over and over again for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
And then I got the job as a referee, and that was challenging on its own. I ended up, for my sanity, choosing specific sports that I wanted to referee, because if you have ever been a 5'2" girl trying to ref a fraternity's flag football game, it doesn't go very well. They get very intense and very opinionated, and for my own well-being, I was like, okay, Drew, who's our the head of this rec sports department, I was like, I need to only ref these games and not ref the all-male fraternity flag football games. But being able to actually stand up for myself like that and say, for my mental well-being, this is what I need. And being listened to and being heard for one of the first times ever was a really good experience for me. And then I had been involved with the Campus Catholics on Georgia College's campus. And it was really nice because it didn't matter what I was struggling with my own beliefs or anything like that. It didn't matter if you were even Catholic at Georgia College. You were just a part of a loving community that behaved like a family and didn't judge anybody, which was really nice and a really big change for any community I've been in like this before. And I actually took on being the head for intramural sports for the Campus Catholics.
Wow.
So sometimes it was a disaster. Sometimes it worked really well. And I was really happy to have people to help me out because it was 2 days before no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was 2 days before Halloween because Halloween was on a Tuesday. This is on a Sunday. And I had gotten cleared at 6 p.m. to play soccer for the first time since I had injured my back. So I had a game at 9 o'clock. And at 9 p.m., so the game started. About 45 minutes later, it was a co-ed game, and a guy kicked me in the ankle, and I tore 2 ligaments and partially tore another and strained my Achilles and had a high ankle sprain all in one go. And I decided at that point, I don't know if I'm ever going to play soccer again because it was literally cleared for 3 hours, cleared to play soccer before I destroyed my ankle. So then instead of what happened with my back where I was alone, I wasn't in school, I was isolated, I was still in school and I had a huge community to support me. And even though I couldn't participate in any of the sports, there were people that were helping me organize things, get everything together, even while I was crutching around campus or wearing a boot or anything like that. And it was just an overall like eye-opening experience. That an injury doesn't have to mean wallowing in self-pity or feeling depressed and anxious and like I can't do anything. There were still frustrations, of course, about 3 months of recovery, and I was able to start playing Frisbee again. But even if I knew I want my ankle or I want my foot to do this, sometimes it couldn't yet. And I had to work through that frustration. But just getting through that and then getting through the rest of the semester, having my teammates there to support me, even at some point having differences and then coming back from those differences and talking it out and stuff like that, to going to Chicago for nationals for the first time I've ever gone to nationals for anything in my life. And then we broke seed. We were seeded for 12th and we placed 11th out of 50. And it was just such a wonderful experience to go through an entire year of coming back from a previous injury, finding a team, getting injured on that team, and then working through it with them was something that did shape me as a person and taught me more about who I am and who the people around me were and how it's okay to rely on people and have people help you through those times. So I think that's the most important thing that sports in the past year have year and a half have taught me, is that it's okay to rely on people.
Well, I think that is an awesome conclusion to your journey with sports and also self-esteem. It's interesting that kind of it's interesting how things happen, how like trials happen in your life and you get to your lowest point, and that's actually sometimes that can be where you get to your highest point, or you're able to really reconnect with who you are. I think ultimate frisbee was a really good thing for you. And this kind of puts me into your current situation being in Korea. What? Okay.
In Korea.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying self-esteem in Korea. It's a very confusing thing to deal with.
Yeah, I'm about to ask you some questions, but I'm gonna ask you first. By the way, you've gotten so many comments that you're so pretty. So
oh, thank you.
I'm looking at the comments of this video so far because like it's a live chat and like people are interacting with it, and people have just been saying how gorgeous you are. So if you go, okay, so just keep on Google Hangouts. But if you open a new tab and you go to YouTube and you click on my channel, which is Pucokie. If you click on, it's Pucokie, you'll see that it's streaming live. And if you mute the volume on the video, you can actually watch the actual live stream as it's happening. And you can see the comments and the questions that you're gonna get. Yes. Okay. You do. I think you do. Someone just said that you have like a Katy Perry thing going on. I also see like Zooey Deschanel, but that comes with, I think, your eyes. You have really gorgeous eyes, and just having like the darker hair and stuff. So what was your first impression of Korea when you stepped foot off the plane?
Oh, okay. That is a good one. So you step foot off, and at this point, I knew how to read Hangul, which is the alphabet. Yes. But I did not know how to speak Korean at all. Mm-hmm. So I could read, like if they told me, go here, then I could read the sign to know to go there. But we just got off the plane. We went through customs. Everyone's speaking Korean. We got through there. And thankfully, so it was like 9:30 by the time we left the airport at night. So the coordinators for our study abroad program actually arranged for a bus to come. They met us at the airport, and they brought us to Korea University and got us situated in our dorms. So it wasn't really until the next day that I was able to actually go out and experience Korea. And the first thing was the first impression. Seoul is located in the middle of a bunch of mountains, and it is so breathtaking to look out and see a city skyline. Just like, it's a huge city. It's one of the biggest cities in the world. A city skyline in front of a backdrop of like the most beautiful mountain range you've ever seen. And it's just covered in trees, so it's all green because it was in the middle of summer. And to see just see a metropolis in the middle of a bunch of mountains, it was just such a contrast that it was breathtaking. The second thing was we had to get food somehow. So me and my roommates went out and discovered how difficult it was to order food in a language that you do not speak. It took probably a good 6 weeks to be able to fluently order food and understand what the prices were and what the questions they were asking were. But yeah, that was the first challenge. The first hurdle to get over was ordering food.
Well, how would you say your interaction with people were?
Interaction with people. The interactions in the first week or so because we didn't have class until about 2 weeks after we got here, or a week after we got here. It was mainly just with the other international students. And it's pretty much everyone who came here from abroad was willing to make friends. So it's not like you had like the weird kid out that wouldn't talk to you or anything. Everyone was pretty friendly. Almost all the international students speak English, except for the few that were fluent in Korean and were here to take classes in Korean. So there wasn't like a language barrier or anything there. And then the first week we had orientation for all international students. And Korea University has an amazing club or program called KUBA. And it's KUBA, it stands for Korean University Buddy Association. And what they do is every single international student is enrolled into this club, and you get assigned to a group. And in every group, there are a group of Korean students who are at least conversational in Korean or in English. And you get assigned a buddy, and you get assigned a group, and they're there to help you transition and to help you if you want to do language exchange or anything like that. And that was a really, really cool experience because we got to see Korean culture firsthand. Instead of going out and trying to just see the touristy things, they taught us about Korean culture, specifically in college and university, what Korean culture is like. There's a lot of drinking.
Yes.
A lot of drinking, especially at KU. KU is one of the top 3 universities in Seoul, and in the top 100 universities in the world, and its reputation is mainly for drinking. They just forget about academics. But no, everyone that's here is obviously insanely intelligent if they're a Korean student, because you have to be they're the top students in the country. And they've just really figured out a way to balance social life and academics in a way that I was never able to do. I've made so many friends, both English and Korean, and here's the thing about speaking a foreign language in America or trying to speak English in America versus trying to like speak Korean in Korea. In America, if people are speaking like broken English, and I've seen this a lot of times because I used to work in retail, a lot of times people get upset and they're like, why would you come here if you can't speak English, which is absolutely idiotic, especially if it's Spanish. It's like half the country speaks Spanish. But the most important difference that I've noticed, and my favorite difference that I've noticed in Korea, is it doesn't even matter if you're just saying hello. Like if you say annyeonghaseyo to someone, they're like, ah, you're so good. And they like you up. And they think it's amazing that you're even trying to learn Korean. So they're really supportive, and they'll be like, this is what you say when you need to do this, or this is this. And they'll be really nice and really supportive to you, even though you have a heavy American accent and you might not be pronouncing anything right. But they're just really happy that you're there and you're trying to learn their language and learn their culture and customs. And it's probably one of the most supportive environments I've ever been in.
Wow, that's really interesting. I never actually like I studied abroad, but not for like a year. So it must be really different for you to like live in another country and know that you're gonna be here like basically the whole year. Well, even in 2019. How would you say? So you're kind of about to touch on self-esteem in Korea and how it's really weird for you. I know a lot about Korean culture, So I know what you're talking about, but would you like to explain to other people how, like, in your words, what you would describe Korean standard of beauty is, and like just in general what their, maybe how your self-esteem is either positive or negative towards those standards?
Yes. So there's actually, it's kind of like a double-edged sword for me, where it's been positive in some aspects and it's also been negative in some. And I have to just remind myself, like, you have a completely different body type than anyone here. So the thing that probably everyone has heard about, or is the most well-known thing about the perception of beauty in Korea, is that the face you're born with, if you are not what they deem attractive, they have no problem telling you that you're not attractive, because they see it as something that can be fixed. They will tell someone, oh, you should get your eyes done, you should get your nose done, you should get your cheeks, your jaw. Like, they'll just tell people, you should get this, this, and this done, and you'll look so much better, which is very strange to me, because in the US, yeah, people get plastic surgery, but it's not really such a common thing to where you would feel comfortable telling someone, the way you were born is not okay, you should fix it. It's like, there's such, coming from America especially, it's probably a different experience than some of my friends that have come from Europe or other countries in Asia, or South America, because America, unlike like the North America, like Canada and the US, unlike any other place in the world, has one of the most diverse populations in the world. So our perception of beauty reflects that. We are able, like, we recognize that there's beauty that comes in all forms, whereas there's a very specific type of, this is what traditional Korean beauty is: pale skin, a small face, which was really weird to me, because my entire life people have just commented on how big my head is and no one paid attention to the size of my face. And I get here and people telling me that I have a small face. I'm like, what does that mean? So it's,
do you know what it means? I know what it means.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So if your face, like your facial features and your jaw and everything, are smaller than, like, it's supposed to be like your fist that you hold up in front of your face or something like that. If your, like, your facial features fit inside your fist, then you have a small face. And people want that. And they want a small jaw, no sharp jaw lines, just like a slim jaw, kind of like just point, like a pointed but smooth jawline. And most girls, like, even I have bangs. I've had bangs for a few years now, and they're just like pushed back today. Most girls will get bangs to like hide their forehead, or have their hair that falls like to hide their cheeks or something like that, because they want to have the appearance of a small face, which is supposed to be a sign of beauty. So pale skin, a small face, double eyelids. So a monolid is when you don't have a crease. It's called an epicanthus fold, that just goes straight across, covering your tear duct, and your eyes don't crease. A double eyelid is what most Westerners, like Europeans, would have, where you have a defined crease on your eyelid. So it's supposed to make you look like you have bigger eyes. And then also weight is a huge thing. And you see, like, on Facebook, because they have regional ads, I think 4 out of every 5 ads that I see on Facebook are either for a dietary supplement, a weight loss plan, or clothing that is supposed to minimize your appearance. They have the standard of beauty where you're supposed to be just skinny, skinny, skinny. Like, no meat on your bones. Think any female K-pop idol that you've ever seen who has the smallest legs imaginable and a waist that is non-existent. And that's how they think everyone should look, even though that is not how the normal Korean person looks at all. Yes, they're smaller than Westerners on average, but it's still an unattainable beauty standard that girls will starve themselves to achieve. And there's a really popular diet that I have friends who do this, and I'm like, that's not healthy. You should really eat like more than once a day, but they will eat one meal a day, and it'll probably be lunch, and then they won't eat anything else. And then that's it.
Wow.
And that's not healthy. But it's so ingrained in the mind of society that you have to look a certain way. Because even your picture, when you submit a resume into a company, even your picture is on the resume. You have to have a headshot attached to your resume. And it's because companies want good-looking employees, which is ridiculous because your appearance doesn't have anything to do with your work ethic. And for the headshot, everyone wears the same style of clothing. Girls will wear the same style of makeup, but they don't care as much about that as your physical appearance. So it just furthers that that stereotype that you need to fix whatever's wrong with you even more. So in terms of my self-esteem, the double-edged sword has been, I am mainly Polish and Irish. So in the winter especially, I get pale as all get out. So everyone's like, especially now that I'm starting to get paler, people are like, oh, your skin is so white. I'm like, thank you. Blue eyes have gotten me a lot of, are you wearing colored contacts lens? Are those real? And then the whole small face thing, apparently it's a good thing. So I've gotten more compliments here than I've ever gotten in my life. I've also started to take more time and more care into my appearance, especially that I'm not doing sports here. Back home, I would have practice every day, and I would go to the gym in between classes. So I would usually be wearing workout or athletic clothing because it was the easiest to slip on and off in between the gym and practice. And because I had practice every day, I wasn't about to put a full face of makeup on to go to class. And it's also not, like, no one bats an eye if you show up to class with your hair a mess, no makeup on, and you could go in pajamas and people don't care in the US. Whereas here, appearance means everything. So I have started to take care of myself better. One good thing that's come out of that is I've actually found it very therapeutic to spend time with myself in the morning to get ready. I never really did that. I would sleep in as long as I could, wake up 5 minutes before I needed to leave, and then just walk out the door. So actually taking the time to take care of my appearance has been really beneficial. But on the flip side of that, I do not have the body type of anything that closely resembles an East Asian body type. I am short and I'm stout. I lovingly refer to myself as a teapot. I'm not overweight by any means, but I am fairly muscular for a girl, and it's just how my body is built. I build muscle very easily. On the other side of that, I have a slow metabolism, so if I don't watch out, I also gain weight really easily, and I get that from my dad. So I have started, especially when I first got here, I was just like, my legs are so big, I feel so overweight. I was just like down on myself because when I would normally be even a small or a medium here, I was trying to fit into in the US, I was trying to fit into extra larges in Korea when I was trying to go shopping. And I think at this point, between just walking everywhere and my dorm being at the top of a hill and like 12 sets of stairs, in the past 3 months, I've ended up losing, I don't know if your audience is outside of America either, but I'll just say it in both. I've lost about 15 pounds or 4 kilograms
Wow.
in 3 months, not changing anything except for just walking everywhere. So it being a healthier environment, the food is a lot healthier. It is really cheap to eat out, but the food that you can get for cheap to eat out is like Korean food. A lot of it is fermented. A lot of it is, there's a lot of vegetables. A lot of it's like rice and stuff like that. And if you want meat, it's more expensive. So if you're eating on a budget, you're not eating a lot of meat. You're eating like rice. And I have grown to love dumplings. They're my favorite food to get here. And you just don't, I haven't been eating as big of portions either. So the food here is healthier. Fermented foods like kimchi and stuff like that are actually really good for your digestive problems. And the wheat that they use is not as processed as it is in the US. So I've actually found I have a gluten intolerance, or I was technically diagnosed with celiacs in the US, but it's mainly, I think, the processed wheat products that affect me. And I've actually been able to eat wheat here without any problems with my like dietary problems or anything like that, which has been a lifesaver because ramen is really cheap and easy. So at the beginning, I was just like really down on myself, and every time there's mirrors everywhere. I don't know why one city needs to have mirrors everywhere. There's mirrors in the subway. There's mirrors on the street. There's mirrors in stores where there don't need to be mirrors because there's not even any clothes. There's, of course, mirrors in the bathroom everywhere. They even put mirrors in the showers. So it's like you're just looking at yourself while you're showering.
That's weird.
Yeah. So every time I would walk past, and I would just be like, I look so fat right now. And you see like all these like little skinny girls walking past you. And it took me probably a solid month and a half to get out of my own head and to remember, like, yeah, it's not your body type. You're not overweight. You're not fat. You're actually very healthy. You're athletic. So, but when I finally got out of that, I was able to like see all that I was missing, and the shopping here is amazing. First of all, second of all, I was able to, since I was taking care of my appearance more, I was able to start doing things fashion-wise that I would have never done in the US, or I would have never thought to wear in the US. And it's been really nice. Now my new favorite thing to wear are skirts. And I wear skirts almost every day.
That is like surprising to me. Like knowing you when I met you and stuff. That is very surprising. That is very surprising.
I used to wear, in the summer, I would wear gym shorts or high-waisted jean shorts and a t-shirt every single day. And then in the winter, I would wear a t-shirt and leggings and a sweater every single day.
Wow. And
now I'm wearing shorts every day. I'm putting makeup on. I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm not about it. I think a big part of it is none of my pants fit me anymore. Even my jeggings are falling off of me, which is like a good thing health-wise. But at the same time, I can't fit into pants here very well. They just don't fit properly because it just doesn't work.
Because you're a little bit more blessed in certain areas that the Korean girls aren't.
Yes. There's a thing that don't exist here, and that's curves. Everyone is built like that. So
it's funny that you say that, because actually, like, the standard in Korea is the S shape.
The S line.
So they say, I mean, I feel like, well, I'm not maybe as skinny as it comes for Korea, but like if you look at, well, you know how I am, and
Yeah. You got like the little
there's like there's like no curves, and that's like, whoa, Emily, you're curvy. I'm like, no, I'm not curvy. You guys are not curvy, guys.
So funny, because you'll see ads for the S line and like the X line and stuff like that. So the X line is supposed to be like an hourglass shape, and the S line is just like a soft curve. And for me, I'm used to seeing a very diverse population with much curvier women than anyone here.
Yes.
And so you're used to seeing such a drastic difference between body shape and body type that you're not used to noticing those small differences. But Korea, being a homogenous population, everyone has the same body type. So they're able to see that like difference in shape a little bit better than we are. So I was talking about this with my friend, and it's like the difference in body shape is there. It's just that we can't see it.
I know exactly what you're saying. Like, well, what you're alluding to, the charts that they have such specific charts, like, for their body types. It's like, I saw it. It's like they will have, like, where we may have 5 or 6. It's like they have like 30. It's like, and it goes down a gradient.
And then we look at them and we're all like, straight.
Yeah, like.
It's hard. Yeah, and one of the big things here are one size clothing. And it's like, could you imagine? I mean, you've probably seen reactions on YouTube or try on YouTube for one size clothing companies before. And if it's like Westerners that are reacting to it, is never a good thing.
Yeah.
Or more diverse population is never a good thing. But here, it's just the standard. There's not a huge problem with obesity, or you rarely see anyone that is actually overweight in Korea. It's getting more common, but you hardly see people that are overweight. So one size clothing shops aren't a big deal. And where I live, it's not anywhere near like the touristy area. So the clothing shops that I go to around campus, if I don't want to travel to like at the international district or anything like that, a lot of them are one size. So the first time it was like this week, actually, I bought a skirt and it was one size, and I just bought it on a whim that it might fit, and it actually does fit, and I wore it today. Wow. And it was like really surprising to me, because when I got here, there was no way in any situation that I would fit into a one size skirt here.
Wow.
So it's just been that double-edged sword of like, on the one hand, your confidence going up, because everyone's like, oh, you're so pretty. And on the other hand, your body confidence just plummeting because you can't even buy clothes.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting journey. But like I told Emily before we went live, that today, like maybe half an hour before the interview started, I posted the first selfie without a filter that I've posted on anywhere in months. Like, when I say months, I probably mean closer to a year. I've posted just like a no filter selfie. Like, even if I was wearing makeup previously, I was not comfortable to put just a random picture of myself online. And I felt nice today. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
Like I said, and like people have said in this chat, you look gorgeous. I feel like so decrepit in this video because, as people know, and I told you this, you're my 4th interview today, and I also did 2 interviews last night. So I literally slept in my clothes and I just changed my shirt. This is all like makeup from yesterday, like, but this would not fly in Korea. Let me tell you, and you know that. Like, if I was to just like do what I did today, it would just not fly. They would be like, "You look tired. Are you sick?"
That was like yesterday. So Thursday we had our last meeting for the club that I'm a part of, and so we went out and we had dinner, and then we were drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. And Koreans can drink. It is unlike anything. And so Friday morning I get up and I'm hungry and I don't want to do anything to my face. And I forgot that my friend was taking me or dragging me with her to the SM Coex in SM Town. And I was like, oh crap, I need to get ready in 15 minutes. So I just washed my face, put some moisturizer on, and I looked awful because I'd been out all night and went to bed at 4:30.
Wow.
I was so self-conscious all day that I was like, I'm not wearing makeup. I'm wearing jeans and a sweater, and it's not even a cute sweater. And it's insane. Like, some days I'll be like, I'm having a good skin day and I can go out without makeup and I feel fine. And then other days, especially after a night of drinking, you're like, I can't go anywhere today or else I'm going to just be judged hardcore. And it's not like people don't look at you because you're a white girl in Korea. People stare. That is one thing that I will never get used to, is that especially the older generation, they are not used to the amount of foreigners that have been coming to Korea. And so they spent their whole life never seeing anyone except for Koreans. And all of a sudden, there's foreigners coming to Seoul and they have no qualm, like no problem at all, just like staring at you. And it's not like they catch you, like you catch them staring and they look away. It's like you catch me staring and I'm just like,
and they keep on staring.
Keep staring.
Okay, this is gonna be kind of a little bit inappropriate, but it's just such a thing in Korea. I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but has anybody asked you if you are Russian?
Oh my God. Okay. No. I haven't.
You know what I mean by that?
I have not gotten asked if I was Russian. My friend's Australian, and she is very tall and redheaded, and her sister is the same way. Very pale skin, red hair, light eyes. Her sister is working in Korea in a smaller town in the southern half of I was going to say the peninsula, but this is the southern half of the peninsula, southern half of South Korea. And old women will come up to her and ask her in Korean if she's Russian.
Russian Zara. What is it?
Russian 사람이에요.
Yeah, Russian Zara. Yeah.
And she'll be like, and it was like religious ladies, and they're handing pamphlets because in the 80s, Russian prostitutes would come to Seoul and act as comfort for men and stuff like that. So now, if anyone who's Russian, they just assume you're a prostitute. And so guys will come up and just ask random people, are you Russian? And I look a little like more European than Russian, I guess. So people have not asked me if I was Russian, but
after Korea, they may ask me that.
They might, yeah. because you're tall, you're skinny, and you're pale. You're gonna be like,
all of the aspects.
And the creepy thing is, it's always like the old men that it's the odds you get.
Yeah, and there's the creepy guys.
Yeah, it's also a thing called riding the white horse, which is extremely derogatory, and it's basically when they just want to have sex with a white person to say that they've had sex with a white person.
Oh, believe me, I know this. When I was in China, I don't know if I've talked about this on my channel yet, but when I was in China, I didn't know this. My friend Elena, who I actually became she's one of my best friends. I met her in China like 4 or 5 years ago, and she told me this, that the guys were saying this, but supposedly all of the guys in this group for the study abroad were wanting to do that with me. And I also dated a Korean guy. This is apart from that, but I dated a Korean guy my freshman year of college, and he was actually from he was an exchange student at Kennesaw, and his friends were telling him it was a little bit weird. I mean, I wasn't doing that. Yeah. But it's interesting.
Yeah. So some people will use Tinder here just to meet people for language exchange purposes and stuff, and they'll put it in the bio, no hookups or anything, language exchange, stuff like that. And so I had never used Tinder before in my life, because in the US it's used mainly for hookups. Yeah. And I don't care for hookups. So I never used it before. And my roommate was like, "Oh, you should use it. There's a lot of people on here just meeting each other, talking and language exchange and stuff." And so she helped me make a profile and stuff like that. And most of the guys will put in their bio what they're looking for, so you can swipe left and they'll literally just make the name of it friends with benefits or hookup or something, just put their name as that, so that you don't even have to look at their bio to see that they're interested in a hookup. It's so weird because guys are so straightforward. They just cut to the chase. They're I don't even know. It's just such an odd experience, because I guess the difference between a Korean F-boy and an American F-boy is the American will try to take you out to dinner and then try something. And the Korean one will just be like, "Do you want to have sex?"
Oh my gosh.
This guy didn't have anything like that in his bio, and he had English in his bio, so it's oh, maybe he speaks English, and he was cute, so I was just we can exchange language. And so he starts messaging me in Korean, and it was enough that I knew what he was saying. And so in Korean, he was "Hey, I've seen you around campus." And I was "Oh, great, he's a KU student. This can't go well." And so now I know that not only does he know what I look like, he recognized me from seeing me walk around campus in person. And then I was "Oh, really?" And I was "Okay." And immediately following that, "I've seen you around campus," he goes, "Sexadeo," which means, "Do you want to have sex?"
Oh my gosh.
I was just no, I do not. And I just unmatched as quickly as possible. But now it's such a weird feeling to know that not only do I know this guy wants to have sex with me, but he recognized me on campus.
Oh,
no. That was an experience. And I was just "No, thank you." And then I deleted my account after that. I was I didn't even just delete the app. I deleted the account. I was "We're done." But it was such a It's such a weird experience trying to weed through everything because so many guys are just like, born girls, yes. And I'm like, no, please. And it's also like, I guess, different because most people who are here for a semester, they're like, the guys will find out they're here for a semester and then they're like, leave them alone. And then they find out that I'm here for the year and that I have plans to come back after I graduate. And they think that's an open invitation to insert themselves into my life. And I'm just like, thanks, but I'll call you later. They're like, do you have cacao? And I'm like, I'm in Korea. Yes, I have cacao. And it's just, it's so annoying sometimes.
I bet.
But on the flip side, those guys are just very vocal, and there's a lot of really nice people. There's a lot of really nice guys that are really just interested in being friends and getting to know you and hanging out and stuff like that, or just having someone to speak English with, because it's not really there's not really a lot of opportunities to speak with a native English speaker or even just a fluent English speaker. So in that aspect, there's a lot of people that don't have any ill intent. It's just the ones that do are very vocal about it.
Wow.
Oh, my roommates are home.
Oh, really?
Yes. Hi. We are on YouTube live right now.
Wait, what?
This is my friend. She's interviewing me for her YouTube channel.
Oh, I don't want to be in.
Oh, I don't want to be
Oh my god. Oh.
Yep. This is what we do on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Okay, so what are your plans when you get back from Korea?
So I have a year left in school after I get back. So I'm going to finish up my degree and graduate. And then I'm going to be taking the GREs. So I take them now, but I'm applying to teach English in Seoul after I graduate. So I'm going to be coming back to be an English teacher.
That's awesome.
Probably at a high school or a middle school.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I have fallen in love with this city. It's unlike any other city I've been to. The public transportation is phenomenal. I've been to London, I've been to Ireland, I've been to New York, I've been to Seattle, I've been to all those places. The public transportation here is unlike anything. And the people, again, like I said, most of them are really, really nice. They're supportive, and you actually like giving effort to learn their culture and their language. And the food is amazing, as long as it's not too spicy, because there's a lot of spicy food here.
Well, I love spicy food, so
you would love it. You have to try several things when you get here.
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of Korean food, but obviously it would be different actually going to Korea. Yeah, actually a good amount of the guys that I've dated in the past have been Korean, and it wasn't intentional. So, but I don't know. I feel like I have a connection with Korea, even though I've never been there. I just know so much about it. But yeah, no, I would love to visit you. That would be so awesome. And I bet there's places.
Some of the restaurants in Atlanta have amazing Korean food that is actually pretty similar. So if it was there, then you might have already experienced.
Oh yeah, like yeah, we're lucky in Georgia, like in the US, that we have well, I'm not in Georgia right now, but Georgia has like a little Korea kind of, and they have like a pocket of really authentic Korean food.
Korean and
yeah. So when you go and like after, how long do you plan on teaching in Korea, I guess?
That's a good question. I am kind of leaving it open-ended right now. I don't like to plan too far ahead because plans always change. But I am getting to that point where I do need to plan for after graduation, so I know that that's what I want to do. But I'm just going to take it, I'm probably just going to take it year by year and see how I'm feeling. My mom is already convinced that I'm going to live here forever. And that she's going to have to get on a plane to come see her grandchildren. But honestly, I like to take things as they come. So I'm just going to play it by ear and see what opportunities are presented to me. As long as it's not detrimental to my well-being, I like to say yes to as many things as I can.
Well, I think that's an awesome way to look at life in general. And I mean, you can't always plan things out, and you kind of have to take it as it comes in some respects. I think it's awesome that you even are putting yourself out there. This is something I really liked. I mean, obviously you're not going to Kennesaw anymore, but this is something I really like about Kennesaw is how globally minded KSU was or is. And it seems like going and, I mean, you, I guess apart from Kennesaw, you somehow got the urge to travel. And I think that's I think when people get outside of their country and get outside of their comfort zone, they're able to explore and realize things about themselves that they've never knew were actually there. I don't know. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Question here on the chat. Let's see. I think people are just mostly commenting.
Yeah.
So do you have the chat open?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, there's some random things.
There are. Yeah, but so you said you had an interest in K-pop.
What bands do you like?
I am that stereotypical person that really likes EXO. And have you heard of The Rose? They're a relatively new, like, actual band. I got to see them live in Hyundai. Was it almost like a month and a half ago? And it was awesome.
Wow.
Like Day 6, obviously everyone has heard of BTS. Even people that don't like K-pop have heard of BTS. But my newest one that I've really liked has been Stray Kids. They just debuted this year, and it's like I've watched them since pre-debut, so it's like I've been watching them grow up, and I'm just like, no. But
well, that's really cool though. I mean, I actually never got into, even though I know BTS, I never got into them. I was always, so like when I was in high school and early college, I was really into Big Bang, the band Big Bang, and also 21. EXO also.
Super Junior.
Super Junior.
Hi.
I'm Mr. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know like more of the OG types. What's your favorite entertainment company?
I like a lot of SM artists, but I don't really like SM as a company.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite company and my favorite company.
Cacao Talk.
Yes. My favorite company in terms of how they treat their artists is actually BTS's company, Big Hit.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's not this way, but I always thought that YG was a good company as well. Are they not?
No, YG has one of the worst reputations.
Really? Wow. When did this come out?
I think it's been recently. Yeah, I've just heard a lot of people talk about it while I've been here. And like the diets that they impose, and stuff like that. They also treat their female idols horribly.
Wow.
Horribly. So
that's not good. Well, yeah. I guess I don't like YG as much anymore.
Honestly, the big three companies, they're a lot better than they used to be. I will say that, through lawsuits and whatnot, and like some harsh feedback from the media. They've changed a lot, but I don't know.
Yeah. Now I know, like, you know, like T.O.P. from Big Bang.
Yes.
He used to be pretty overweight, and before he debuted as in Big Bang, he lost like an extreme amount of weight within like a couple of months. Like it was like something like 80 pounds, I think.
Yeah, they there was a female idol who was doing an interview that I saw somewhere, and she almost got kicked out of the company and was sent home for several weeks right before her debut because she couldn't lose weight. She wasn't able to lose the amount of weight that they wanted her to lose.
That's so crazy. Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, I mean, I probably should end this soon. I'm actually in a coffee shop / bookstore. This is a public place, so that's why there's been,
some things going on.
People, and this is not my house. Some people have asked if this is my house, but yeah.
And my roommates are now home, and it's 3:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, what am I talking about? Like, it's so late for you. Wow, I forgot about that. Yes, you need to go to bed. Well, I don't know if I think some people are thinking you are ENFP. I'm gonna probably retitle this video and like change the description a little bit. But do you guys have any? I mean, do you have anything that you want to add before we end this?
I think really just the biggest thing that I have to say to anybody is just put yourself out there, and if you want to do something, even if people tell you not to, just do it. Like, if it's not going to harm you in any way, just do it, because you'll have some of the best experiences of your life doing things that you never thought you would do in your entire life. Like, cut your hair, dye your hair, get a tattoo, travel the world, just go out and like say hi to someone that you've never talked to before.
Which, by the way, your hair looks amazing. Like, I think the darker hair looks so awesome on you. Because would you like to describe what your natural hair color is to people that?
So my natural hair color is like a really light ashy brown, almost
Yeah.
blonde. I was really blonde as a child. And I always had hair down to my waist. And when I got here, I cut like 7 inches off. So it was like here. And then, because that's normally where I cut my hair, and then I just let it grow out again. And I got the urge to cut my hair, and my friend was like, I can cut your hair for you. So I was just like, all right, let's do it. And we cut off another like 7 inches to until it was just above my shoulder. And I dyed it black, or dark brown, which I used to dye my hair this color in high school. And I really liked it because it matches my eyebrows almost perfectly. Because even though I have light brown hair naturally, my eyebrows are black. Just, I don't know. It never made sense to me. But I also have bangs that you can't see right now because they just weren't doing it this morning. So depending on how I style my hair, apparently I look like a completely different person each time I style it differently. So,
well, I think you look pretty with and without bangs.
Thank you. I used to also have hot pink hair, and that was a really fun time.
Yeah. Well, what's it called? What was I gonna say? I forget. Well, back to you. Well, yeah, I think, what you said about putting yourself out there, I think that's amazing. And I think it's awesome that, yeah, I think that's good advice for anybody, because I think so many people are afraid to put themselves out there because they think they're going to be judged. Like they don't think they're good enough or whatever, or they just like don't feel confident in their decisions. Like, I know for you, you probably had people that are like, why are you studying abroad in Korea? Why do you want to move to Korea? Stuff like that.
Especially my parents. Neither of my parents were on board with me coming to South Korea. But, you know, especially with when I decided and when I started to apply, the political air around the unification of North and South Korea was not at its finest. And like, thankfully, like everything's working out fine. And it's been a really interesting discussion to observe firsthand here. But yeah, my parents were not thrilled about the decision, but they also realized that there's not much they could do to deter me from it. So thankfully, they've been supporting me after getting over the fact that I wanted to travel halfway across the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had great parents. Like I have friends still that are 21 and 22 years old, and they still have to ask their parents for permission to do things. And it's because they're still in school. And that is mind-boggling to me because my parents have always been really supportive of me making my own decisions. And I can't thank them enough for that.
I think that's awesome too. Like, I can't really speak for that because even though my parents are pretty like, oh yeah, do what you want, they're not really like that. I feel like they kind of have a path for myself, my sister. But my sister's always been rebellious in that way. She didn't care what people thought. So she didn't listen to them, whereas I kind of always did, and it's been hard to not listen to them. Even to this day, it's weird.
Yeah. Mom calls me her flower child. I've always been more of like a free spirit type and just kind of done what I wanted to do regardless of what people thought. And sometimes that was really good for me, and sometimes I got too into my head. But in the long run, I try to not regret anything that I've ever done, because if I regret any choice I've made or regret any experience that I've had, then that means that I don't like the person that I am today, because those things, those experiences, those choices have shaped me into the person that I am. So if I don't like it, if I have a regret, just try to take it and turn it into a lesson for yourself. Change yourself for the better, and then it's not a regret anymore.
Yes. Well, I think that's really a good note to leave off on. And it's been awesome talking to you. And again, I definitely want to visit you. Whenever I go and visit my sister, hopefully I visit her before you're done with your study abroad.
Yeah.
I think I will actually, because you said that you would be coming back in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So I hope you guys are having a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you guys are. And I wanted to say goodbye. Alyssa, would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to me ramble.
And if you guys have any idea of what her type is, let me know or let us both know in the comments below. And I think you should also take the test again.
I will. And then I'll comment it somewhere.
Okay, good. And I don't know if you want me to do this, but do you want me to plug your Instagram in the description?
That is fine. I'm not sure.
Okay. People actually asked if you have a YouTube channel.
So I do.
Oh, so you do? I thought you didn't.
The only videos I have on there are private.
Oh, okay.
I always wanted to, but I just didn't know what I would talk about. And then
you're live in Korea.
I know. And I have a camera, and I moved 3 times within the 6 weeks before I left to come here, and it got packed in the bottom of one of my boxes. And yeah, I know. My friends are all telling me to start vlogging or something, and
Guys,
we'll get to it.
What do I use? I use my phone. So you can do it, Alyssa. I believe in you.
Okay, I'll do it.
Well, you should.
Yes, if you would like to plug my Instagram, you can.
Okay. Well, you can say it out loud right now, and then I'll put it in the description as well.
Yes. So it's Alyssa J. Wilwall, and that is a hard name to spell. So it's just ALYSSAJWILWOL. Let's see. Yeah. I don't think my account's private, so it should be fine.
Okay.
All right.
Well, all right. So, bye, everybody.
Bye.